Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Yours truly, the technophobe, John Beattie, International Director of the British People's League, wearing a big grin here once we get out of the button control situation. What's the grin for? Well, I have performed many tasks in my life. But what you're looking at today is the first time I've been a male model. Now, before the weirdos out there start getting thirsty and anxious, I'm a male model for the British People's League today, modeling a sweater, just knit, neat cuffs, the works. The works. Beautiful design. I'll read you the description. You remember the old movie Gone with the Wind, and getting near, things were getting rough for the Confederacy, and the soldiers were going door to door, and the gals, the stars in the show, gave up these beautiful dresses and so on to help the cause. I guess they redid the uniforms out of all of the fabrics they were given. So that was when things were getting rough there. Well, as you all know, things are getting rough for those of British stock around the globe, particularly here in Canada. We're not getting the donations in that we would like, although we appreciate those in the past who have donated, obviously, gifts or whatever you want to call it. So back in Gone with the Wind, it was the gals who were trying to save the day. Well, here again we have the gals trying to save the day, a knitting club or whatever the gals call it in Ottawa. They've come up with this idea to stop Beattie from crying on the air of trying a bit of a knitting auction. I'll just read you how the captain of the knitting team puts it. Get the right spot here. There are actually two sweaters, both a nice soft brown and one the same soft brown with a band around the bottom. I love it. Sweaters to start off the revolution. There are actually two sweaters, both a nice soft brown and one the same soft brown with a band around the top. Is this what the models would do? But it is a beautiful sweater, folks. Note the pair of them. I'll show you the other one in a second. And if it's embarrassing to some of you young guys out there that Beattie has put himself in the position of modeling sweaters to get funds for the British People's League, well, I hope it puts some of you to shame. But the wiser gals amongst us out there, all through history, the seniors brigade always come through. So with a band around the bottom, cuffs and neck of a color they call birch tree. Sort of creamy, yellowy, rosy color. I guess I will send you both and you can choose what you think. The wool still has its natural lanolin in it. So that is why it makes such a good outdoor sweater. Just ask our forefathers who wore sweaters like that when in the fishing business for a living. Well, without crying the blues again, those who were tuned in during this past winter pretty well got the picture. It was like winter inside this house here with the price of heating oil. And it was a thick sweater that I wore all winter, got me through that winter. But as I told the captain of the knitting team here, I can't wear the same sweater every day all winter long, even when I do wash it in between. However, the main project is to auction these two fine sweaters off to bidders who can email at britishcanada@gmail.com. britishcanada@gmail.com. Similar sweaters knit in Ireland sell in a catalog for $150 or so. And they are not necessarily from the original wool stock our forefathers used, keeping in the lanolin. If you can auction both or find a home for them locally, just send me the price of the mailing, or maybe a bonus if someone ends up paying you a lot of dollars, paying the British People's League donation. That's how the payment would be. It would be a gift to the British People's League. the PayPal button or through the mail, carefully concealed bills in the mail. You could even do a money transfer. But hey, you can't blame us for trying, folks. We're fighting a war here, and we better get some funds in the war coffers. A legal war, of course. There's no guns in this boy's house. I don't think I even know anyone that owns guns. And besides, the underground people wouldn't talk about it if they did, would they now? So maybe a bonus if someone ends up paying the British People's League dollars for them. I have too much stuff here at home to continue to store them, even though I say so myself. I think they are classy looking outdoor sweaters, well made. Well, they sure are beautiful, Captain, I can tell you that. And what is it? She has a very personal touch. Okay, here's the other job. Nice pattern with squares. I doubt it, but you never know. I'll try. Up on the notice, she says, "My own design." Isn't that fantastic? My own design. They're beautiful. I'll just wear them this one show, this one, and the other one on another following show. I don't want to, ruffle them up for you bidders out there. Start a huge bidding war. But anyway, as Good Friday is tomorrow, observance by true Christians and so on, I'm sort of glad it came today. The two came today, safely packaged in the mail, so we could do our mail modeling. Wow, that's going to be good for the image. I think I have aqua and forest green similar wool in stock for more sweaters if they are popular, and someone wants to offer dollars for them. Unfortunately, the time for knitting works out to about $1 per hour for slave labor. So I would start the bidding off at about $50 per sweater. That's the bidding, folks, the bidding. I'll have to decide between now and then what the price really should be. Not greed for the British People's League, but worth, especially for our knitting team of retired civil servants. And Ottawa is the capital of Canada, folks, for those of you abroad. So I'd start the bidding off at about $50 per. And then in another email description, you still with us? I hope you've stopped laughing now. You've seen the quality of these sweaters. I know the laughter would be at me, but they're beautiful. They're beautiful. I hope the bids aren't high enough. They should be. I want the bids to be high enough. But on the other hand, if they're not, then I'll buy them off the knitting team. Donate to the British People's League to help me pay the internet bills. So carrying on, the captain of the knitting team. You can just remind the folks that a ladies' knitting guild in Canada, in British Canada, likes to support pure wool yarn imported from Yorkshire, England, and a Canadian cottage industry in New Brunswick, to encourage the folks trying to keep our heritage and crafts still alive. To encourage the folks trying to keep our heritage and crafts still alive, if they want the address to get the finest of yarn in Yorkshire, we can supply it. The Yorkshire Ladies Guild exchange patterns and yarn with the white ladies in Germany, with a few French ladies, thrown in for good measure. Would say they are good fireside ambassadors for our cause. Boy, that's so good I'm going to reread it. You can just remind the folks that a ladies' knitting guild in Canada likes to support pure wool yarn imported from Yorkshire, England, and a Canadian cottage industry in New Brunswick, to encourage the folks trying to keep our heritage and craft skills alive. If they want the address to get the finest of yarn in Yorkshire, we can supply it. The Yorkshire Ladies Guild exchange patterns and yarn with the white ladies in Germany, with a few French ladies thrown in for good measure. Would say they are good fireside ambassadors for our cause. Amen to that. I mean, that's initiative, okay? I mean, you know, the churches have jumble sales and whatever, and here we are with the purest of wool. Beattie on display. I'm trying to get you the nice ribbons. I wouldn't want to be wearing one of these on the demonstrations or so on in case we run into trouble with the boys in blue. I wouldn't want the handcuffs to go right where the nice stripes are of the sweater. So you get the picture. It's a beautiful design. And people with quality and taste will certainly know what I'm wearing here. So there's the bidding, folks. See what you think about it. Give us a bid for the beautiful sweaters knit by the Knitting Squad in Ottawa, Canada, for the cause. Because as we've been crying, we've got to make personal contact. Personal contact's the key. And you also know we have people waiting for the van plan to come to fruition. We have made the personal contacts over the years right here in the vicinity, Central Ontario Cottage Country. So that's no problem. We've got them on standby. Anytime I say, okay, we're on, then we're on. The pickets will start. I had a discussion by emails this morning with radio broadcaster Don Advo in the States. He's busy co-hosting American shows. I hesitate giving out the show numbers because there are postings sometimes that are just too far out for me to fathom, okay? And I'm sort of burnt out with all of the various approaches and so on. I'm just praising Don Advo as such. So I asked him too about the personal contact. And he too has been at this for years, trying to wake up our white people. And so we had, I usually say something to cause a debate. I said, well, we've got to do the personal contact and rebuild, as I said in yesterday's show. Bring back the sheaves, bring back those people that have wandered out there. The wandering. His reply was, well, what's the point in driving for an hour for a cup of coffee with, say, this particular fellow that's resurfaced, who wants to be, become involved again? As he said, and I agree, years of having coffees and get-togethers maybe didn't produce enough. But that's the only way throughout history. I don't care if it's the bloodthirsty Robespierre or the bloody commies that murdered the Tsar and the family. And then on our side, the righteous side throughout history, the same thing. You have to have the personal contact. And if some don't pan out, well, we just got to keep trying. I'm being a bit hypocritical, yes and no. As the upfront label on the ketchup bottle, I can't be running the streets all the time with picket signs saying keep our villages majority white, etc. I'll join in. But original YouTubes, as I point out, I don't have a car for a very special reason. The secret civil war that went on in the 70s and 80s, I wouldn't be alive if I had my own car. It would have conveniently involved me in an accident, okay? An accident. And the car is just a dead giveaway. So, but that curtails me from traveling. I have many promises that people are going to show up here and do the tour and so on. Well, they just haven't showed up. They shouldn't be nervous, should they? I'm doing the shows. The only enemy I've got is when the internet connection doesn't work. I hate the crying jazz, but that's the scoop. These YouTubes have built up regenerated enthusiasm for the British People's League. We're getting more emails. But we've got to get the hurdle whereby Johnny Boy shows up at people's apartments and homes and we have get-togethers. I don't care if it's half a dozen people. It's the only way we're going to build. These massive forums and internet radio shows and even this YouTube, all very nice, but it's not hands-on. in the flesh. And the internet's a double-edged sword. It gives a lot of people a lot to hide behind. By the same token, I've had many invites from people to appear at their residences. So it's just a case of getting some young guy who mouthed off at work, maybe mouthed off against multiculturalism and got fired, is going to get unemployment. So if you're going to get unemployment for a year, come on out to Central Ontario, Cottage Country, Minden, Ontario, and then we can do the rounds. And even the driver will be inspired as to the good quality people we've got sitting in the wings out there waiting for Beattie Boy to show up at their doorstep. It's got to be done. There's just no other way. We can't rely on this glass box computer, whatever the hell it is, refined plastic, I call it glass box Susie. We can't rely on glass box Susie to introduce us to people in the flesh. And yes, I've had eager requests to share these videos, to be here and appear in the video, but the excuses are colossal. Just colossal, sickening actually. And that's where I still give praise to a gal from Oshawa, Sarah from Oshawa. She appeared on the one. She had no hassle as a result of the appearance, none whatsoever. In fact, her identity is still pretty well hidden as such. We know her as Sarah from Oshawa. So I'm hoping she'll be back up. But she's had a lot of personal job requirements and situations. But at least she did appear, whereas others bragged and said they would and they didn't. We're the only game in town. There's no other YouTube daily attempts being made. Now in Britain, our counterparts in Britain are miles ahead of us here. Especially, yes, the plug for Candor. Candor Magazine, a cultural institute that has terrific publications, a timeline of history for white patriotism in Mother Britannia. Candor, C-A-N-D-O-U-R, candor.org.uk, candor.org.uk. I wish I could find a way to display the contrast of the sweater here with the ringlets and the neck piece. So how am I doing so far in my new job? Hey, do I make a good model? I don't know if I can handle that industry, though. I'd be charged with certain assault offenses immediately in that sphere of the world. But this is a pleasure. It's truly knit, beautiful sweater. Okay, hands on head. So, how's that for a different touch? Well, it is a pretty special weekend for Christians. As I said, I'm half a loaf. I go straight upstairs. But I respect the sincere Christians. I can't respect the aspect of some churches who bring in multiculturalism and go and bring them over to us. But you can find churches out there that talk to our people only. They're out there. But in any case, it's a special weekend, so do enjoy your weekend. I may or may not be on tomorrow. We'll see, and you'll see. We'll certainly be on Monday, April the 21st. And as I say, we may be on tomorrow, but today is April 17th. We're glad to have brought you the Dinosaur News, produced by the British People's League. Think about the sweaters. Phone up your Aunt Martha. Phone up Aunt Nell. Get working on it. Thanks a lot. Talk to you next time.